to share some insight into why receiving this award is significant to me. In doing so, I want to share with you some of my story today, and it begins with an engraved memory. His skin color darkened. He repeatedly complained of a metallic taste in his mouth and remained confined to the bedroom to sleep for most of the day. While my mom insisted we take him to the hospital, persistently he rejected the offer. It wasn't until the day my dad fell walking up the stairs that we rushed him into the emergency room. What was the diagnosis? A nurse explained to my devastated mother how his blood was full of lethal toxins like phosphorus, potassium, blood urethra, nitrogen. Since not one but both of his kidneys had stopped functioning for some time, he needed a blood transfusion and would have to perform dialysis for the rest of his life. At that moment, I was in daze. I hardly understood what it all meant. I was only 7. With age, I grew to realize the seriousness of his condition my dad faced. His sickness became my reality, my family's reality. Every day for the past 15 years, I have watched my dad's cringing face when he has to inject 2 thick needles, wider than the ones used to obtain a blood sample, into a catheter that is located inside a larger vein in his arm. Not only has his sickness taken a toll on his body, but also on the financial situation of our working class immigrant family. Coming from a traditional Latino household, it was difficult for my father to accept he wouldn't be the breadwinner of the house any longer. Because a social security check wasn't enough to get by in the Silicon Valley, my mother took up the responsibility of sustaining the household, working 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. as an assembly worker. I began to apply the same diligent work ethic I observed in my mother to my education. From an early age, my parents said, "Échale ganas al estudio para que te superes." Work hard in your studies so you can make something out of yourself. This constant reminder made me realize the only way for my family and I to move up the social ladder was going to be through schooling. Yet, as the first in my family to take on this challenge, I didn't know how to navigate this system, an institution so unfamiliar to me. College, no one in my family had ever gone. This far-fetched idea, however, became ingrained in us at East Palo Alto Phoenix Academy, or Papa as we like to call it. From the moment we walked into school until we left, we lived, breathed, and worked around making this dream not a vision, but a reality. And I say we because I didn't do it alone. The foundation of this idea began with my principal, Mr. Madsen, who persistently fought to found Papa back in 2006. It carried on with the countless overtime hours my teachers dedicated to us. One in particular, Mr. Cabra, who is now principal of an Aspire public school. Let me tell you, getting us prepared for those AP exams took much longer than 1 hour a day of instruction. So you can see why I say that we made it, because I was a product of his and everyone else's persistent support. But reflecting back on my experience at UCSB, I came to realize originally these institutions of higher education were meant to keep people like me out, so as to keep my people in a cycle of poverty by creating vocational schools that fed a system of low-skilled labor, of which their children were expected to replicate. These institutions weren't created for the first-generation, low-income migrant daughter of a Puerto Rican and a Mexican, whose first language was Spanish. Yet simply because they weren't meant for me, didn't mean I wasn't capable of learning how to navigate a space in which I didn't belong. This is the mentality Papa's educators fostered within me, this inner tenacity to prove a system wrong. Although my story is unique in certain aspects, it falls within a larger narrative of immigrant working families and students of color who persevere despite obstacles. We have it within us to make the change in our communities that we wish to see, to earn a sustainable income that would support our families, to make something out of ourselves, and to defy the odds working against us. The playing field for us isn't equal. What the support system of educators and leaders Aspire creates, it is one move forward in normalizing such unfairness. And thank you for being those educators. I once stumbled across a quote that goes, "Aspire to inspire." This is the approach I have taken on in my life, and this is the approach all of you have taken on for the students like me. I hope by sharing my story with you today, I hope to continue to inspire your love and refuel your passion for education. I might be the first in my family and part of the second graduating class of Papa to earn a bachelor's degree, but I know I won't be the last. I am only one story of the many whose lives you have altered by the work you are all standing in front of me do. Thank you for allowing me to place a diploma in the working hands of mother, and sickly father who have struggled their entire lives in this country of dreams, for working to make higher education an option for students at your school, but ultimately for altering the trajectory of an outdated mentality that thinks we aren't capable of succeeding. And although I do not know what profession I will follow, after having obtained a BA in Environmental Studies and Chicana Latino Studies, I know I am equipped with the tools and drive to make an impact in the lives of others the way you have done for me. Thank you.